my name's Karen Campbell. This is the first visit to my brand new channel. This is my first video, and today we are drawing a super beautiful dark skin girl because Black lives do matter. Hell yeah, they do. And today we're drawing a really gorgeous girl. This is actually taken from one of my paid courses over at awesomeartschool.com, but I thought it was the perfect time to release this as a free gift to all of you. So I hope you enjoy it. A couple things. We're drawing with pencil to get started, and then we're gonna dive into Copic markers. So what are Copic markers? Copic markers are alcohol-based markers, and you can buy alcohol markers in a whole range of brands and types with different nibs, and some can be as cheap as 50 cents and other can be as expensive as $10 a marker. Just know, whatever type of alcohol marker you have, they all play nicely together. So don't worry about it if you don't own Copics. I think I'm doing mine today. This is an older video in Prismacolor alcohol markers, whatever, doesn't matter. Use whatever alcohol markers you have. If you don't have those, use crayons. It's all good. So if you are going to be using alcohol markers, however, paper is a hugely important thing that you need to be aware of because they only behave correctly and blend the way you want them to blend if you're using the right paper. My recommendation for you is this Hammer Mill. It's actually like office copy cover stock. It's magnificent and it's only 4 cents a sheet. I'll put a link in the comment section below if you want to give it a try and get some. My ream lasted me like 2 years because there's 250 sheets in it. If you don't have that but you have some Bristol laying around, grab the Bristol. It's beautiful. It does a beautiful job with these. If you don't have either of those things, grab cardstock. If you can get that, that's like your cheapest, best alternative for paper. So yeah, super important. Oh, okay, I have some resources. I like to give out resources with my videos. It helps us all be more successful artists faster if we have some additional resources. If you don't know, I've published a lot of art instructional books. So sometimes I will just grab a page out of a book. Like today, I'm using the shading guide. This is actually page 55 for my first How to Draw Fun Fab Faces book. And the face that we're drawing today is one of my Fun Fab faces. It's a great style because it looks, how do you describe it? It has all the facial proportions of a realistic face, which is right here, and this is the guideline sheets. And I have both of these resources. If you want either of these, they're totally free. Just leave a comment below in the comment section that says, hey, I would love the guidelines or the shading guide, and you can have both. And then when you're sitting down to draw, you can have these by your side as well. But what's cool about the Fun Fab faces is that the proportions are realistic, but the coloring and the end result is just fun and fab. That's why I called it that. So I really hope you enjoy today's lesson. As far as skin colors go, what you want to do is grab 3 shades, and it could be any shades as long as they kind of like look nicely together. So just grab like 3 or 4 colors. I'm using 3 colors today. You want a light, a medium, and a dark. And that doesn't matter if you're doing a super Caucasian girl or a super dark Black girl. It's just do 3 shades and you're good to go. So pick out your marker colors, grab a piece of awesome marker related paper and a pencil and come meet me at your art table. Come on, let's draw. So I'm armed with my face drawing guidelines, and we're gonna do the oval first. So just do an oval. I usually do it a few times around, and then I shore up that oval. As you can see, I do it many times around. Okay, I added the neck. They're gonna draw 4 lines. You're gonna have 1 down the center, 1 across the middle center, and if you have your guideline sheet next to you, this will be super easy. And then you do the nose line is halfway between the eye line and the chin, and the mouth line is halfway between the nose line and the chin. So now I'm drawing in the ovals for the eyes, and they're really squished ovals. And you can make these as squished or as large as you want to. So I'm making my girl's eyes really big and bold and beautiful today. So I draw those, and there should be a space eyes between them. They look a little close, but that's because I drew them very large. So they got closer than they technically should be, but the end result I'm very happy with, so it's okay. So drawing a nose starts with a circle in the middle, and then I put these parentheses on either sides. And then we have those little flat, squished little teardrop shapes for the nostrils. And please feel free to pause this video at any time so you can catch up if I'm going too quickly. So the mouth, as you can see, the top lip is simply an M shape and the bottom lip is a U shape. You put them together and you have a perfect little mouth. So I like to kind of make my faces and characters a little bit more interesting by having the irises, which is the color part of the eye, not looking straight at you all the time. So as you can see, she's kind of looking off to the right. It just adds a little bit more expression and personality without getting crazy with eyebrows and things like that. One little cheat there for you. Just kind of shoring up the chin. Now the chin is super small, but again, this is a fun fab style. It's not hyper realistic. You can kind of play with proportions a little bit as long as you have your original guidelines in there. It's really the eyes that are the most important in terms of where they are sitting on the oval when you get started. If the eyes are off, kind of everything else becomes off as well. So to put the headband in, that top line of the headband is actually the very top of that original oval. And then I simply drew a second line down about 2 inches, and that's just the headline. That's the headband line. Put on some very quick earrings. And ears sit right between the eye line and the nose line, so they're very easy to locate as well. And again, just feel free to pause this if I'm going too quickly for you. When I have all of the pencil marks where I like them to be, I love the look of a nice contrasting outline. So Sharpie is actually an alcohol-based marker as well. So I know that it's going to work with my Copics and my other alcohol-based markers. So I'm doing the outline in Sharpie. Now that being said, it can bleed a little bit because Sharpies and alcohol markers are meant to blend. So just be careful when you're coloring her in not to go too heavily over the Sharpie lines because they will bleed and they will blur a little bit. So just be careful. Getting a little bump out from under my paper. And then after you outline, you can actually go ahead and erase all of the guidelines, any extraneous pencil marks that you have. And I'm just doodling a little bit more, kind of give her headband the look of a cloth rather than like a plastic, just by putting a little wavy lines in there. And then I realized she has no eyebrows yet, so I'm popping them in. They're the same width roughly as the eye itself. And then I like to make mine all sorts of wiggly. I love the end result expression that she has. I think it's just so super sweet. And if you're looking to add more expressions to your girls, really all the power resides in the eyebrows. You can keep that face exactly the same and just change the eyebrows up and you will really transform the face. So a little hot tip there. So again, I'm just outlining everything with a fine tip Sharpie this time. I guess this is actually an ultra fine tip. And just outlining everything. This is not rocket scientist. I know you can do a good job of doing this. Again, just be careful with the bleeding when you go to do your actual shading and coloring in. Outlining the earrings as well. I love her little top earring hoop. I have my ear pierced up there too. I never put my earring in. I don't know why. And I don't know why I changed the angle of that little one earring, but so I did. So as for eyes and pupils and highlights, you can leave the open circle like I just did, or you can close it up like I'm doing now and then go back and add the white highlights in with a paint pen or a gel marker. Now, I noticed her pupil was off center, and so to correct that, I made her pupil larger. And now I have to go back and make the right one larger so that they match. So just do your best to make sure your irises are in the same place in both eyes and that the pupils are the same place and the same size. If you need to use like a little circle template or something, go ahead and grab one. I do that all the time. Just with practice, I find I don't need to do that as much anymore, but there is no shame in tracing things. I do that all the time when I'm making, trying to make perfect circles for profile view or whatnot. So just go ahead and grab anything you need to trace to get like a really good shape going. So there's a lot of different ways to make eyelashes, and this is a very simple, straightforward one. So you start by making that top eye part really meaty, and then I'm just simply adding, like, I'm drawing in like 3, they almost look like wave shapes, and then I'm just coloring them in with my Sharpie and having just a few pronounced bold lashes is a great alternative to trying to do like a million lashes. But I do have some great videos on eyelashes, and I will put an eye in the corner of the screen right here so that you can refer back to my eyelash video, which is on my other channel, but it is still here for free on YouTube. So why not get access to that? And now once we get all of these, the drawing part fine-tuned, we're going to go ahead and start doing the shading and adding the colors for the face. So we always begin with the lightest color. So make sure you grab your alcohol markers, and we're going to go start in with the lightest color first. And I like to swatch all my colors first, just so I have no surprises. Sometimes the color of your marker does not match the cap color, so you want to make sure you understand all the colors before you put them down on your paper. So I'm using the lightest color first. Now you want to make sure you move quickly with alcohol markers. They can be very, very streaky, especially, well, it depends on the brand and the nib you're using. So if you move quickly, you can minimize the streakiness a little bit. It also helps, and I know this with more and more experience, like I said, this is a little bit of an older video, is by going back over very quickly the same shade over and over and over. You can really eliminate all that streakiness. You can also switch directions. I always think of it like as mowing your lawn. You know how you mow your lawn one week and you see all the vertical streaks, and then the next week you mow it in another direction, and then it kind of helps cover up the streaks from the week before. Same thing. I'm mowing my lawn. I am coloring her face, and so when you switch around and do more layers, it helps eliminate that. But when it's all said and done, and you can see there all the streaks over next. But moving quickly, you see how they fade away? The faster you move, then the faster those streaks move as well. So that's one thing, is move quickly. You can also try doing it in a circular pattern and very rigorously coloring in a circular pattern, and that will help obliterate the streaks as well. But also when you're building up colors of different markers on top over and over and over, then it helps to cover up all this impression of like exaggerated streakiness. So please don't stress too much about it. There is an art to coloring with alcohol markers, but so if this is your first time, go easy on yourself. It's not the end of the world. You'll get it with practice. Worst comes to worst, you just have to do another one and try again. And that will only result in making you a better artist in the long run. So please don't beat yourself up. All right, so we're going in with the second color. So this should be one shade darker than the first color you put down. Now you have the shading guide, hopefully. You requested one, you got a shading guide, and this will tell you where you're going. And you can also use this video and simply follow me. And again, you can use these skin shades, you can use any skin shades you want. You can have like 3 super closely related colors and have very minor shading. I love dramatic shading. So follow me. So we're going around the hairline, that was the first thing, and under the neck. And then we're doing all around the eye. Now the ear is set back, and so that's why it's always shaded. When you do the eyelid, take very careful care to leave the center of the eyelid either white of the paper or your lightest skin tone, and leave it just like that. Because what happens is the end result is that it creates this appearance of real true dimension, like those eyelids are bold and beautiful and they're coming out, and it's accentuated by the shading that we put on there. So it's so fun and it's so effective. So now I'm going back to number 1. This is my first skin tone. That's the lightest skin tone, and you can use it to blend and ease the transition between your first and second skin tone color. So always have your first skin tone at the ready to help you blend. This is skin tone number 3 now. And just so you know, I use 3 shades whether I'm shading a dog, whether I'm shading a couch, or whether I'm shading a face. It's always good to use at least three different values or shades of the same color to give the appearance of dimension. So every time you go deeper into a shade, you use less of it, and the area that you're shading is less than the area of shading before it. So as you notice, every time I go darker, my lines are getting skinnier in terms of what I'm shading. It looks a little awkward and stripy at first, but then when you're all said and done, it all comes together pretty dramatically and pretty well. It's very exciting to see. So I really hope you're trying this with me and not just watching. Although if you're watching too, that's okay. I appreciate you. So where were we? So now I'm going back to my first color again. So again, you use your lightest skin tone for blending purposes. Now I decided to go back. I needed a little bit more oomph on that left-hand side, depending on what the shading sort of pattern is based on that shading guide that I gave out. So I decided again, I was sort of started out on the top left and I'm moving over to the top right of that shading guide. So it's a little bit more dramatic on one side, but they're pretty filled in. So again, this is my second darkest color, the medium shade. And she looks a little bit raccoony, but don't worry, I promise it will all come together in the end. So adding a little bit more drama means adding more of that medium shade, more on the right-hand side of the hairline, more around that left-hand side eye. And if you notice, I'm leaving, there's that number 1 light shade again to blend and bridge the gap between 1 and 2. And so every time you're adding that number 1, you're adding a little bit of a darker base to the first color. And again, that helps to reduce the streakiness. If you notice this new layer, I'm going in completely different directions than the first layer and the first time, and that helps to reduce the streakiness of the first layer. And you can keep layering these over and over and over. That's what's so cool about them. So I'm adding the second shading, another shade darker to her neck. Okay, and then you get to decide like how much or how little shading you want to go, but I love me some drama. So that's the fourth and final deepest, darkest shade, and I'm going really punching out the neck, the deeply recessed areas like the inside of the ear. So it just gets a touch, and just a touch at the sides of the eyes, around the eyes, and it will start coming together more and more. So this is shade number 3. Decided to punch up the drama again on the left-hand side. And remember, please pause the video if you want to come and catch up with me. No worries. Beautiful thing about YouTube is being able to rewind and fast forward. All right, so that's number 2. So I'm expanding that whole second layer of shading. And I decided I want to make, it's a really bold, cool statement to have one side shaded more than the other. And again, all drawings and all paintings go through an ugly stage, an awkward stage, but you can't let them win. You got to keep going so that we eliminate and get past it. So it's just have to know it's super normal. And at any point I could be staring at this going like, ugh, this is so weird looking and this is so ugly, but you kind of can't really give heed to that because they'll win every time. If you stop, you will let them win. So you have to keep going. So I love this lip color for her. It's like this rich brown red. It's like to die for. And I also am obsessed with green eyes. So I always do green eyes. It doesn't matter what skin color I'm drawing. I always have them have green eyes. It's like a weird thing. I just think I love green. It's just the prettiest color. So my girls will always have green eyes. I just can't help myself. So you can make them look, it's just realistic. We've already discovered this Fun Fab style is just kind of bold and graphic and fun. It's sort of like a step edgier than cartoon, right? But it's not, doesn't have the strictness of the realism. So it takes the pressure off there a little bit. But you can mix and match these different colors together. Those were all shades of green. So that was 3 different shades of green. So I told you, no matter what you're drawing, if you can pull out different shades, you'll always have a more impactful drawing. So there's very little actual true white in eyes. So that was a layer of gray. That's a light gray. And what happens is the upper lid casts a shadow on the white part of our eyes. So you have to draw that in. And that also helps. I also put shading there and there at the corners. That also helps if your eyes are looking too bulbous or too startled. A lot of times it's because your iris is not big enough. So a way to offset that, say your iris is already fully drawn and you're happy with it, is to just add some heavier shading onto the white part of your eye, and that helps to combat against that like too big-eyed look. So this is my favorite paint pen. This is a Sharpie that's filled with water-based acrylic ink. These Sharpie paint pens and Posca paint pens are my favorite. They work amazingly well. The ink inside of them is very opaque. It's paint, so it covers over markers, watercolors, whatever medium you're working with. I always do my little eye sparkles different with every drawing. I have no rhyme or reason. I always just make them look different for no reason. So I'm doing 3 little specks of color this time. And then I thought that big splotch was too big, so I'm just making it small again with a Sharpie. Never put a marker though into wet paint, so make sure that that's dried first before you do that, or you'll wreck your marker very quickly. And then, highlights. Highlights on dark skin are my favorite. I have a whole page in my brand new Art Deco drawing book that is dedicated to drawing dark skin and Caucasian skin, and also using highlights on dark skin. It's like my favorite because it's adding essentially one more value, the lightest value, to your drawing. And every time you add more values from white to black to whatever color is in between, you're just gonna have a more striking, dramatic drawing effect. So I love it. Adding the white highlights. So don't be afraid to add white highlights. It's like so fun. And as you can see, once you have all those layers of shading and you complete the details, suddenly your drawing is looking pretty darn good, isn't it? I think so. So you have this intricate shading against just very carefully placed different levels of the values and the shades that you're using. Now, hair people struggle with so much, so I hear you, and I'm going to be addressing this a lot on my new channel that you're watching right now. So a great, easy way to start with hairstyles is to do the headband technique, which is, again, the back part of that headband is the original oval that I drew. And then you can always just put a thickness of a band anywhere inside of that, and then the hair then just comes out the back. It works every time. It always looks good because that's the exact correct proportions. Now, hair has a lot of volume, so look how many inches up and over I'm going. I mean, that's like a good 2 inches up past beyond the headband, but that is correct, and that's how much volume the human hair kind of takes up when it comes past our heads. So I think a big mistake a lot of people make is just they're scared to give that sort of volume, and so they just have hair that's very, very flat, and it looks wonky, and people can't figure out exactly what the problem is. And it's not so much a problem, it's just they didn't have the guts to like go take that volume up and over into the head. Same thing when you're feeling mature, and I mean mature as an artist, and you're ready to do more complicated hairstyles. The same holds true with having the confidence to take the hair and like make bangs and come into the oval of the face. That's something that I know a lot of people struggle with. So again, I have a lot of videos coming up where we'll be talking about hair. So take your different shades. So I had the light shade for the green, and then I'm putting again the darker shade at the corners, and that creates more depth and more realism. Not crazy, so not super interested in highly realistic things. But yeah, she's looking fun fab right now. Is she not? Yeah, she is. All right, so shoring up some of these lines. This is an in-between shade. So it was a little bit lighter. It was a little bit lighter. That's sort of color 1.5. It was like between 1 and 2. So I'm putting it to ease the transitions again between some of the layers that I'd already had and adding a few more white highlights. Oh, I love some white highlights. And then coloring hair in this style, this Fun Fab style, is super easy and fun too. So if you noticed, I divided the mass of the hair up into smaller sections using those slightly wider bands of Sharpie lines, like curvy lines. And then what you can do is you can just color each section in a different color. And again, I just picked different shades of brown and black and then just like randomly colored them in. Now, a little hack here is that if you have the dark colors against the face, it helps the face pop out at you. And so it creates a better illusion of dimension. So it's less flat and it makes her face protrude or have the look of protruding forward. So that's a fun little cheat. That's why I started with the black on the right and on the left. And then you can slowly come forward with some brighter or lighter colors. Sometimes I just alternate them. So I'll have like black, brown, and then black, brown again, or I'll do black, brown, brown, brown of different shades. And you notice I took different shades. I tried not to make the hair color match the skin color. So it doesn't matter what skin color girl you're doing or what skin color hair. I just try to have them in like different families of color. Otherwise, I find it looks like way too matchy. And while again we're not doing realism, I just think it looks a little bit better if you have different families, because then your brain is like, okay, I know her hair is different, say, than her face. And otherwise, when they're all the same, it can be a little bit confusing, and you want the face to pop out and stand out from the hair. You don't want them to be all exactly the same. I hope that makes sense. And that also could just be my opinion, and maybe you disagree and you really love to have all your colors match, in which case, totally go for it. But I'd like to have them a little bit different families, just to, again, kind of set them apart from each other. So I seriously love this project so much. And I've seen tons of students go through my course and do this one, and it just brings me a lot of joy. All these Fun Fab faces are they're super fun to watch come to fruition, especially by new drawing students, because I feel like it's something really easy that people can actually obtain success with. Again, the alcohol markers are not the easiest medium to work with, but once you get the hang of them, they just come in amazingly brilliant colors. So starting a collection slowly is a really fun thing to do. Again, I have brands. I do prefer Copics because they're like the brush nib that you get with them is unparalleled in my opinion, but they do cost a fortune. But I think it's so super cool to know that you can go out and buy them from a bunch of people, a bunch of different manufacturers and brands, and they do have quite affordable options. Arteza in particular, they have less than $1 for a huge set of 60. They have a whole 36 skin tone pack, which is fantastic. So I will put links to those Arteza markers, and I have reviews on them as well that I can link to you. And I really hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you give her a shot. Whatever skin tone set you would love, I would love to see. If you want to join my Facebook group, it's facebook.com/groups/awesome art school is where I am hanging out. I would love to see you there. I'm posting on Mondays and Wednesdays after today, so I hope you subscribe. Click the bell to be notified when I publish new videos every single week. And thanks for watching.